Konbanwa everyone, my name is Lorthorn and welcome to this mod showcase for Urushi. It is a mod that is Japanese styled. In fact, it has its own Japanese dimension. This mod is for 1.20.1 4th-gen Java Edition Minecraft. It doesn't seem to be fully complete, as one of the big things about the mod is finding one of these dimensional gates. Guess what? You can't go / locate structure Urushi gate. It's not in the list. But apparently, they exist out in the world. I haven't found one yet, so we're stuck with what we got here. But I did make one, and you can cheat in the ghost portal to find them. And it should look a little bit like that, so we're good to go. All the links will be in the description, so if you want them, just check down there. Alright, into the spirit gate.
Huh. Appear like going to the Japanese spirit dimension has more of an effect on me than this bit. But I can work with this. Alright then. So, to begin with, when you first enter this dimension, you will come across this portally, gately thing, which is very portally and cool looking. And you'll be confronted with many new yet familiar things in the Japanese dimension. Now, one thing to note is if you come into the dimension at nighttime, it's best to go back through and then come back during the day. As at nighttime, all the spooky evil spirits come out and they will eat you. This is after all the Japanese spirit dimension, so it's full of foxes and ghosts and not much else. At daytime, the sky turns to a wonderful shade of red, lighting everything up to make a very beautiful Japanese biome. We've got Japanese cedar trees, we've got Kobriko sakura logs, I guess these are the Kuburo sakura trees, and everything's lovely. There are a few interesting places to go look at once you get through as well. There's some notable spots to check out. So there will be houses in this dimension. These houses have Japanese bamboo timber, doors, and rooms with foxes sitting on chairs. Pretty, my fellow fox. Nice little house is the first thing that you might come across, or you might come across something completely different in this dimension, as there are so many little odd and strange things. Such as a shrine with hot springs colliding with it. See, this mod has like 100 half-baked ideas, and some of it doesn't feel like it's complete or put together properly. And one of them is how things spawn into the world. I've had to do a lot of cleanup, even then sometimes it doesn't work out. And so when these structures spawn into the modded dimension, they intersect with other things and cause issues, such as the hot springs spawning in the temple. See, I've been to one of these temples in real life, and they usually don't have hot springs like this in them. It is, you go here, you get the little cup, you scrub yourself with it, you wash your feet or something, then you ring the bell, they put a coin in, they clap and you bell, and then you ring the bell, and then you go inside, and you take the raw rice from the top and you eat it, steal the gold, you take the enchantment books, you eat the sushi on Lorthorn, and then you take the portal back to your own home dimension.
Which will leave you stranded in the middle of nowhere. Because the portals don't link up, because I'm pretty certain they're broken or not spawning in or something. So let's go find that portal back to the Japanese dimension. The spirit world. It means like the other world or the hidden world, which is basically where the spirits and gods live. Here we are. I'm back once more, and back through we go. Well, it appears at least I got my voice back, so we'll take that as a win. I think the shrines are very nice looking. They look like the shrines in Japan, and it's a good way to get back home, and they just look beautiful, as much as this mod does when it's functioning properly. Another really nice looking spot are the villages. So the villages are the Otherworld villages, Uzure villages, and they're full of friendly NPC citizens, which are the Kakure. That means other dimension or spirit world, I think. Citizens. They're like villagers, or jobless ones, so again, like villagers. And some of them do have jobs. But these villagers also happen to spawn rather aggressively and cut chunks out of the world when they spawn in, which can lead to a kind of gross looking appearance, which is a great shame. If you move beyond the intersecting spawning of things, it has absolutely gorgeous markets filled with produce, and various little shops scattered here and there to go explore and look at. From hot springs to blacksmiths to grain merchants, it just blends in this beautiful feeling of an old medieval Japanese village. wonderful backyard here. I think this is a minor business. Let's see, what are you? Yeah, you are a mason. Okay. Can tell what their business is by what they have out front. Hello. I mean, this person's got a giant hot bath in here, so this might be hot springs. Or like an inn. Oh, another food market. Ooh, and this is, I guess, little residential zone. This is a fun house. Got some jadeite and coins stored in here. This place is so gorgeous, like, especially with shaders, with all these lanterns. Oh, it's so pretty. And the water, like, if it could get cleaned up a little bit, so these aren't spawning everywhere, it'd make it so much better. And then, of course, there is the, I guess this is like some sort of giant hotel or castle. I'm not exactly certain what it's meant to represent. What this big place is meant to represent. We got outdoor market with a cook and another cook and some jobless hobos. Wow, like this thing is gorgeous, this giant building. And inside it's really cool too. Got all these cushions and these terracotta glazed pots and these cooking setups going on here. And if you go around out back, got this outdoor natural hot springs. This is meant to spawn here. It's very nice. Gives you the healing effect. Got great vibes. And you got these giant buildings which are, oh, they are so confusing to go into. You explore this castle, this hotel. It's like a Spirited Away, this mod is. Yeah, it quite literally is Spirited Away. You're going to the same dimension that she went to in this Spirited Away animation, I'm pretty certain. And you've got this giant weird hotel. So this is kind of like the Spirited Away Minecraft mod, in a sense. And there's all these rooms put together, and they've got the futons in them and the tables. And then they open up to the neighboring rooms that you can hang out with, or then you can go back into the hallway. You can keep going up the stairs, got like some sort of meeting room or dining room. You know, rent this place out, have a big meeting in here, talk with all your people and go, yes, there is a crisis with rice, and the rice price in Japan has doubled recently, which is absurd because that's like the staple food. Everything's based around how much rice costs, and if it costs, like, imagine, well, actually you don't have to imagine because it's happening to you too, but imagine if like the most common type of food you ate doubled in price. That's what's happening in Japan right now. I mean, it's happening bloody everywhere. That'll date this video. It's very cool to wander through this place, though. Lots of little treasure to find. You can just keep going up and up the staircase, around and around and around. Well, you can keep going up until you can't anymore, which I believe we've hit the max limit, which is here. But what's also cool is if we go back down a level and we travel here, we can go across the bridge to the other place. So we've got this little bridge here and we can look out at the village and go, oh, it's so pretty. And one thing I'll say about the staircase is it looks like it should carry on up further. And it doesn't. Bit of a shame. Because there's also like a whole bunch of spare space up in here. And it's just all filled in. It's just a giant chunk of wood. You could have like another room up in here. Like, look how much space is up top here. Do so much more with this. Yeah, so these cities, though, these villages are very pretty. It's just such a shame that how they spawn, they intersect other things and just delete them. That's a shame. But they actually do have different random shops depending on which place you go to. Like this one here is a forge, and that's pretty cool. This must be a hot springs. Must be a hot springs. I guess that's what this is a little hot springs. Something fun you can do with the hot springs is if you take an egg and you chuck it in the water, it should turn into a hot springs egg, which is pretty cool. And you can use that in some sort of cookie. Now, why I'm uncertain about this being a hot springs, but must just be a unisex hot springs, is this mod actually contains little curtains, I believe, which are meant to show this is a men's hot springs or a woman's hot springs. And it's kind of just charming that the mod has this. It's a shame it doesn't utilize it in the village. But the village really gives you this Japan anime vibe. So it gives you also like the Demon Slayer vibes. I mean, Demon Slayer is just Japan, so it is very Japan's vibey. Okay, so there is one more structure to look at as well, and that is the wood circle. So wood circle is a little puzzle. So you come into the forest and you'll see these little wood circles. And they're a puzzle to solve. So this is a solved one. And if you solve them, they give you a prize. So we go to an unsolved one. There we are. Got this wood circle. And we've got this pillar. These are the puzzle blocks. And we've got these here, these petrified logs with switches on them. And if we hit the switch, then it changes things. So this one changes the top two in a rotation. This one changes the bottom three. And then this one changes the top and the bottom. And so the goal here is, of course, to make them all match. I'm really bad at these puzzles. Well, the really frustrating thing is you can only press on the switch to make it work as well. If it was just the blocks in general, that'd be a lot easier. There we go, huzzah! We got the freezing Jufu stamp. Hold on to this, you'll need it later. Spiteful, hateful thing. Yeah, so there are those puzzle circles which break your brain. And there are a few new biomes. So there are 3 biomes in this dimension. There's the plains, which have this stuff here, which is kind of like wheat. It can be turned into thatch blocks, it can be turned into tatami. And it also has Lycros, which is used to control Japanese society by having them go along dressing like schoolgirls and eliminating dissidents to the society in brutal fashions. Or it's a kind of spider lily, I think is what it calls it. Duplicates bone meal as well. Yeah, so we got this wonderful dimension, biome here with a mountain next to it. There's new things in here. We got the jadeite ore, and new kinds of dirt, new kinds of stone. Got these tunnels down here with, gold. No, that's more jadeite. Also some quartz crystals down here. And we got the Yumi gold, and the Yumi gold's cool because when you mine it, you get like more gold. It drops 2 gold. So with the plains biome covered, let's go on to the next. There are the autumn forests, which drop these cool fall leaves. They drop the red, orange, and yellow leaves on. They're very pretty. We got cedar forests, which is where we came in on, with these giant Japanese cedar trees. We sometimes just end up in a spot like this, which is these leaves spawn on the ground no matter what. They also float on water. And so when the biome is over a lake, it just blankets the lake. And so we can get this very pretty setup here with a house floating in the center of the lake randomly, which accidentally looks gorgeous. And here we happen to have the sakura forest, which we saw earlier, the cherry blossom forest. All the pink cherry blossoms hanging out. So we got the sakura leaves and logs. And we also got this epic mountain. Look at this thing. It just keeps going up. Oh, it's cool. A very cool mountain. And of course we just got the caves. And the caves can be cool too. All sorts of things can be found in these caves. Like immediate bedrock. Yomo Toshigani fruit. And you also can just find holes into the void. And the void does call. Now, there's a little bit more that the other dimension has to offer. Okay, correction, there's a lot more the other dimension has to offer. So, let's keep on plowing on. This mod is like, oh, it's another dimension, that's cool, it's very pretty, and needs some work. Yeah, it could do with some improvements, but on the whole, it's actually pretty cool. There's some nice features, it got some interesting ideas, some trading. It's a nice place to hang out. You've got those ghosts to deal with, they're scary at night. There's all sorts of stuff here. But then there's more, because there is a magic system baked into this mod. Yeah, there is spells based around this mod in this dimension mod, which I wasn't expecting when I decided to take a look at, so let's get into that. So to start with, to do this magic, you actually don't need to be in the Japanese dimension. You can do it being outside of the dimension. So take a cobblestone, take a stonecutter table, and go and find the rock. And then it actually tells you what to do on each item, or you can look at the book, or you can watch the video. So if you're watching the video, what you do next is you take this nice healthy looking rock, and you slap it down, and you take some dripstone, and you put it over the rock, and over time, the dripstone will drip, drip, drip onto the rock, and it'll turn into weathered rock. So, next, you want paper. 3 paper in a row will make the shide. If we take the shide, and we right click on its elemental representative block, like the cedar wood, which we can tell is wood elemented by the little leaf next to the EMC, it'll turn that shide into wood elemental shide. Magma block will turn it into fire shide. Block of iron will make metal shide. Dirt will give us earth elemental, and a melon or a block of kelp will give us water shide. Good thing there's no Geno elemental. Now the rock is still weathering, so let's look at some of the other stuff this mod adds. Because it's not just, oh, let's make this a Japanese mod, it's, no, let's just change Minecraft. So we can go here, we can look at the vanilla modifications that this mod added. And so it made it so you speed up when placing blocks and walking, so it actually places at a better pace for building if you want to do that. Siding textures, it messed around with textures so that you can now mess around with the siding. And then no fall leaves from damage. So if you fall into leaves, it's a soft cushion, you don't take damage if you land on leaves. So just some modifications it made. And then of course it also had to add in a bunch of extra nature stuff, but that's all part of the dimension, but then it also added on all of its useful items as well. So let's look at some of these useful items because they're actually quite useful. One of these items is the climbing rope. But the idea behind it is you just put a climbing rope down and it goes shoop all the way down and it gives you a ladder that goes all the way down. And if you break the rope, it turns into rope. It's no longer a climbing rope. Can't be used as anything but rope. That being said, it has an EMC of 1 per climbing rope, and the climbing rope has an EMC of 20. So if you have 20 of them drop, then you auto break them. Sorry, if you have 21 of them drop, and then you auto break them and you convert them to EMC, oh my god, you can use it for infinite power. Besides breaking EMC, you can also just climb with it, which is also pretty handy to get up and down from places. Another interesting thing that this mod adds is the wooden cabinet. So the wooden cabinet is like a chest, but it's made out of slabs. So you get the 8 slabs and you slab it all together and you get a wooden cabinet. The wooden cabinet is a chest, about the size of the chest. You can't stack them on top of each other. They sit like that. Or can you stack them on top of each other? Because if you have 2 wooden cabinets and you craft them together, you get a stacked wooden cabinet. And that's the size of 2 chests, only taking up 1 space. Well, that's cool. But you can take 2 wooden cabinets and you can stack them together and you can get a double wooden cabinet. And this is massive. You can take bamboo and using a crafting grid, you can turn into Japanese timber. Japanese timber can then be taken and placed on the ground, grow as Japanese timber, or you can put it into a furnace and you can very quickly cook bamboo charcoal. Bamboo charcoal is just as good as coal. Each burn 8 items and it is made very fast and it grows with bamboo, which is fast. So, back to the magic. As our weathered rock is probably weathered enough at this point. So you take the weathered rock, you take that climbing rope, you take elemental of wood, you go over to that crafting table, and you just chuck them in there. Doesn't matter the order, they're just all together. And that will give you wooded elemental sacred rock. So depending on what kind of shide you use is what kind of elemental rock you'll get. These rocks then, you can right click on them and you can see how much power they store inside them, their elemental representative power. And if you want to feed them more power, you take their elemental representative block, so wood for wood, and you put it on the double shide. So the shide with the shide that has 1 shide on it doesn't do anything to you. But the shide with the 2 shides will then be consumed and turned into elemental power. Next, we're going to make a cushion. So the cushion is made with a block of wool, any color, and a piece of string, and that will make the zabantu in that color. Then you want to take some lacquer log, right-click it with a piece of flint, and that will score it. Next we want to put the cushion next to the scored log and put a chicken on it. Then we want to put cobbled Yumin stone on top after it's scored, and we'll just wait a bit. Eventually it'll give us elemental amber. Each elemental amber requires a different animal in this setup. The chicken will give you wood element, the sheep will give you fire element, the cow will give you earth element, the horse will give you wind element, and the pig will give you water element. Now this all takes time to get done, so I guess in the meanwhile while we wait for this to happen, we can just dance? There we go. As you can see, the lacquer log turned into the petrified log with amber in it. And so how this works is if we are in normal survival mode and we happen to break the log, then pow, it turns into earth amber, and that is the case with all said animals here. They'll just do it in their representative element. Now next, we need to put fruit on our eyeballs. So we want to take glass, and we want to take humid something fruit and gold. We combine them all together in this pattern, and we get the visualizer goggles. And this lets you see the paths of mana. As you can already see, the path of mana is being emitted there. The path of mana requires directors, portals, things to move them around. And those things require smooth birch planks, wood amber if you want to move the wood elemental. It would require fire if you want to move the fire elemental. Everything else stays the same because the amber and the element you want to move. Then it requires nether quartz, gunpowder, put in this pattern, and that will give you the birch wood elemental emitter. Then you want to make an iron Boshi, which is this decorative block here, which, I don't know, might invoke the image of something to some, but to others, maybe it doesn't. Anyways, you take that thing, and you take some smooth birch planking, put together into a birch sandbow. For our next step is to take yet more smooth birch planks, take the nether quartz, take the birch planks on top, a crafting table in the middle, and the wood amber at the bottom to make the birch wood elemental altar. Shabam! And then we put the birch wood elemental altar down, and we surround it with a birch sandbow. Then we take our wood elemental sacred rock, we attach a birch wood elemental emitter to it, and we can see with our goggles that it will emit elemental magic in that way. Then the ski side, which happens to deal with wood magic, if we put the wood next to it, it will consume it and emit that mana into our elemental table, thus charging up with elemental earth magic, so we can do earth magic rituals. Or should I say wood? This is all wood magic. Okay, next part of the tutorial is about mirrors. Mirrors are broken, so just ignore it. By taking our ski, and by taking some wood planks, taking the wood amber, taking the copper, and we can combine them at the butch word elemental altar to create a new item. So we have to do this carefully though in the correct order. So, copper on top, birch wood there, amber there, and the side there, and that will combine all together, and that will give us the birchwood elemental onsona. And this thing stores a whole bunch of power, and so we can now emit wood into it. It can also have power emit out of it, and we can put the emitter on it, and then it will emit its power back to the center there. Take paper, sand, and gravel, and you can make sandpaper blocks. And then you can take the sandpaper block, combine it with the amber on top, amethyst on the side, gold on the bottom, sandpaper on the side to create the elemental Katana. And this is a portable storage device for your mana, which allows you to cast the spells. Right click the ring cube with it, and it will take the mana out of them and put it into itself. Next, find some jadeite ore, make jadeite blocks, and break it down into jadeite. Then, with the 4 jadeite, you craft them together, 1 amber, 3 jadeite, and that will give you a wood enhanced jadeite, or fire if you're going with fire. Then, with 4 wood enhanced jadeite, you combine those together, and that will turn into a wood enhanced jadeite block. Then in the elemental crafter table, you take a crafting table, a wood jadeite block, nether quartz, you combine those together, and that will give you the wood jadeite elemental altar, which is the tier 2 altar for elemental magic. If you want to power up faster, because you will need to power up faster, you craft inside it with wood enhanced jadeite block, jadeite block, jadeite block, and jadeite brick, tier 2 crafter in the middle, a wood elemental Hokri. Each Hokri has its own required elemental inside it, which you can read on the Hokri. This Hokri eats sweet berries. Instead of giving you 1 mana per block, this one gives you 5 mana per block. You can speed it up by putting them into a hopper instead, and it'll automatically feed it the berries to produce power. Now with this new crafting table, you can take 4 flint and turn them into the amber, thus skipping the whole animal thing. Next, we take black dye, and we put it into our inventory, and we can do tiny black dye. Then we want to carve up some lacquered block, take a wooden bowl, and we can fill that up, and we can get raw Uzra in a bowl. Then we want to take our raw Uzra, we want to combine that with a tiny black dye, and that will give us black Uzra in a bowl. In a tier 2 altar, the Genite Wood Elemental Altar, we can take that earlier stamp we got, which I believe we actually happened to get a water one, but let's pretend we got this wooden one instead. So we can take this wooden one that we earned earlier in that wooden circle. We combine that with the black Uzrai bowl, a piece of paper, and a gold nugget. Ink, paper, gold nugget, power will turn into, with their powers combined, the Lina Fan Jufu, and the Jufu is a magic warding scroll. The stamp doesn't get destroyed, and neither does the bowl, so you can repeat this over and over again as long as you have mana. And the Jufu can then be thrown to cast a spell. Shaboom! We get a wall of vines. It's a little less cool in non-creative mode, because that wall of vines gets consumed, or rather the Jufu gets consumed. So that sandpaper we had earlier, the sandpaper block, if combined with a sticky piston, can smooth blocks, which is just ridiculous. There's also more kinds of hoppers now, actually, that this mod just adds, because why not? It adds the Usura hopper, which is cheaper but slower, and it adds the advanced hopper, which has like a magma power to it. Oh yeah, also, whenever you get an achievement, you get a little musical sting. So Usura hopper recipe is the red Usura planks and just one cabinet slab. The advanced hopper is a magical recipe which requires stuff we don't have yet, but yeah, it requires a Kitsune Bushi, which is like a Kitsune light. Also, we can make a hammer. A hammer is made with a block of iron and a stick, and it can be used to change block types. So this little fun block here, if you press C, you can change its mode. And so all sorts of things you can do with that. But if you want to change them after you place them, you can use the hammer. So we can do this. You will subscribe to Lorthorn. You will like the video. You will comment on it that it's really good and it's your favorite video. Yes. The hammer can also be used to make a katana. And a katana is the mightiest of weapons. A single swing of the katana can cut through a horse and its rider. But they are an absolute pain to make. So let's make a katana. So a katana starts with the humble iron sand. You take the iron sand, you break it, and that'll give you iron sand. You then take your iron sand and you put it in the blast furnace. It will cook in the blast furnace and turn into hot iron sand. You will then take hot iron sand and you put it onto a surface, like an anvil. Then you take a hammer and you hammer the ever-living heck out of it. Then you pick it up and you throw it into some water to cool. Then you pick up and you've quenched iron plates. You then take these iron plates and you put them into a crafting table. And you get crushed iron plates, 2 of them. You can then take these 2 crushed iron plates and you put them into a crafting grid and you get stacked iron plates. You then take these stacked iron plates, you put them into a blast furnace and you cook the stacked iron plates into hot iron ingot. You can then take this hot iron ingot and you hammer it until you get a dent in the middle, and then you keep hammering it. A lot. And it'll turn into this nubby hot iron ingot. And you hammer it more, and it turns into this flatter iron ingot, and you hammer it more. And turns into this long flat iron ingot. Then you collect this hot iron ingot, and you put it into a blast furnace, and you cook it. And this will turn to a forged iron ingot. Then you take your forged iron ingot, you put it onto an anvil, and you hammer it. And that will turn into a blade. Then you take the blade, and you coat it in gnome semen, so you know it's good. And you throw it into water. And then you get a quenched iron blade. And then you take the quenched iron blade, you hold it in your inventory, and you take some black Usura bowl, and you combine it with smooth oak planks to make smooth black Usura planks. And then you combine that with leather, quenched iron blade, and the smooth Usura plank. All together. And finally, you'll get the mighty... And now we've got the mighty iron and katana. And this katana, we can lunge. We can draw it and we can slash. It is such a mighty weapon. To create a normal sword, we can go and we can take a pickaxe. And we can mine some iron ingots. And we can smelt that. And with 2 iron ingots, we can then take a stick. And we can turn that into the mighty iron sword. The European sword. The one-handed short sword, or perhaps the broadsword. And when comparing the two, well, it's interesting. For our sword, well, it deals slightly less damage, actually attacks faster, and is way easier to make. It doesn't have this special ability though, where you can go Ree! Ree! Japan #1. I can basically fly, and it does deal slightly more damage. Also, I think this is an oversight of the mod maker because it feels like an oversight to me. Iron sword, durability 250, katana 1024. Now, I'm no expert, but I am an expert actually. European swords were way tougher than Japanese swords because they worked with war, better iron. Like that whole process, we did that because iron sands suck to work with. Whereas just mining iron ore and getting that nice solid iron ore, way better. Although we actually did basically make we did a process which can lead to making a steel katana, even though this one's called iron, and this is just an iron sword, to be fair. But I feel like this sword should have a better durability than this piece of garbage, because in reality, they did. But it's very cool. And I do like that you can kind of basically fly with it. This is going to be incredibly dumb, but basically, we can do this. So now that we've made the sword, let's look at all the magic we can do. Each one requires its own teardrop of destiny, and for you to collect the stamps. Starting with Earth, create the wall, jump one, knockback Jufu, and that is the Earth. The fire magic, we've got the explosion Jufu, and then we have the lava generate Jufu. We got some Earth Jufu here, these are fun ones. Fluid erosion will eliminate a source of water. Mountain create. Growth Jutsu. Metal Jutsu. Spike. Frost Jufu. And finally, Water Jufu with the Freeze Jufu, which I think is the most disappointing of the lot. Jutsu also have like no drop off, so they kind of go forever. I like them. I like this, like you throw out the scroll and shloop, and then it slaps to something and does a little bit of magic. That's fun. So now for some further magic things you can do. So if you happen to take some 4 soybeans, makes tofu. Then you want to take a composter and some wheat seeds, and you can make an oil extractor. Put the oil extractor down and put carrots in it. And once you have enough carrots, it'll turn into oil. And combine the vegetable oil with 4 iron ingots, and that will give you a fryer. Take the vegetable oil and put it into the fryer's fuel. Take the tofu, put it into the fryer, and your fantasy Minecraft world will give you a Brura Age. Then you can take your Brura Aged from your fryer, and you can give it to a fox. The fox will eventually eat it. Will turn into a little red fireball. Then we just have to trade them for something new. Get back here. That will give us the Ketsputske. This is that crafting recipe earlier. And also, if you happen to have the fire elemental thing, you can throw them and they'll illuminate the area. And that's all. They don't deal damage. They're just a light source. If we want to do something with some wood magic, we can combine in actually the advanced or non-advanced wood elemental creator, Japanese timber, wood amber, paper all together. And that will give us a paper umbrella. Paper umbrella requires wood elementals to open. What does it do when it's open? Well, we can either use a katana to not take fall damage, or la-di-da-di-da, la-di-dee, we can fly with a wooden umbrella made of paper. If we use string on the bottom instead of paper, we can make the uchachi, which is a big old fan that we use to speed things up, do sweeping really fast. Apologies to all headphone users. Right, next take a flint, take a fire amber, take a blaze powder, take an oak plank, put it into the firecrafter, and that will give you this amber ingot. Then take some Yumi dirt and turn it into an item by the crafting grid, which is the unfinished stove, and then cook that stove into an unfinished Srika stove. And then we can combine that stove in the elemental birch fire thingy to make blaze and iron and thing, and that turns into the Shiki Shikarin stove. The Shikarin stove. Then you have to put a hopper next to it, and you have to put wood fire or coal or something into it. Basically, burning recipes. You can put the Japanese fire source starter things into it. And then if we have fire mana, we can light the fire with the igniter. And then we can fan it. The fan. And we can increase the heat, or it can decrease the heat. Then we can put a stack of raw food on it and play a little cooking minigame to cook all the food, or burn it and turn it to deadly poison. If cooked correctly by carefully keeping the temperature at the center, it will cook into well-cooked level 2, which gives you a regen 2. And if you can keep it at the center for longer without going over, you can get higher levels of well-cooked, which makes it heal you for longer. Now on to the random things, which I didn't know where to put them in this mod showcase. So, we shall present them to you as Mini Hatsune Miku, because that's random out of nowhere, isn't it? As Mini Miku, we shall look at these things. So we've got the wooden water tank, which collects rainwater into it. We've got a television, which we can turn on, and it'll give us weather report in Japan. Or I can turn to DVD screensaver. We've got this painting, which we can change into a bunch of other different Japanese things, which is very cool. We've got this morning glory in a pot. We've got this stupid wind bell. We've got mushrooms, so these are actually kind of fun. You put them on your eyeball, makes so you don't aggravate Enderman. It gives you these little starry eyes. Interesting fact, you make these by putting mushrooms on your eyeballs, basically. We can put a bamboo cup. The bamboo cup is just made by taking a piece of bamboo and turning it into a cup, and then you can fill it with water. You can take coins. You can put them on the ground. We got different light sources. Some can be flipped on and off, some can't be. We've got auto crafters help. Gold leaf. We can wrap a block in gold leaf. We can take a noodle knife and we can have a block of noodles. And we can chop it. There's sushi. And we got a conveyor belt. A sushi conveyor belt. It doesn't convey us, but it conveys the sushi around in a circle. Dirt furnace and the whatever that thing is, I think it's a noodle maker, and we've got the rice cauldron, and we've got a tea kettle, which we can put tea into, and then we can make tea everywhere. We've got, oh, my favorite, jelly donuts. I love jelly donuts. Look at all those jelly donuts, absolutely delicious. Yeah, it's just completely random in Japanese at the end. I don't understand why. So, yeah. After that utter chaos, I will thank you very much for watching this video. Thank you to my patron Blushfeather, you rock. And yeah, until next time, I guess I'll catch you all then. So I guess I will dance my way on out of here.